What's up, guys? It's Millie Peartree here again at the Food52 Studios. Today we're making one of my old recipes with a new twist, a sweet potato cornbread with maple butter. Like any baked recipe, what we're gonna do is we're gonna prepare our pan with either some butter or some oil. Why? Because we don't want our product to stick. So here I have some softened butter. I like to use a cast iron skillet because you get those crispy edges. But if you have a baking pan, muffin pan, use whatever you have. Okay, so we have our pan nice and buttered, and we're gonna prepare our dry ingredients. We have some all-purpose flour, cornmeal, and we have some salt, some baking powder, and some cinnamon. I love to use cinnamon because cinnamon gives you like those warm notes. And this recipe kind of reminds me of candied yams a little bit with like the brown sugar, the vanilla, the sweet potato. It's just Southern goodness in a bowl. And then here we have some granulated sugar and some brown sugar. You could totally use dark brown sugar if you want more of a molasses taste. Just use what you have. So we're gonna combine all of our dry ingredients. The reason why I love this recipe so much is I do not like to throw away food. So this is when you have like leftover candy yams, some leftover mashed sweet potatoes, is a great way to add it into an equally delicious product. Okay, so we have all of our dry ingredients combined, and now we're gonna go for our wet. Gotta bind this together, right? So we have some eggs. We wanna make sure all of our ingredients are at room temp. Some buttermilk, some pure vanilla extract, some sweet potato, and of course, some melted butter. That's cold. We don't want scrambled eggs, right? And you can also modify this as well. You know what would be lovely in this recipe? A little bit of orange zest. That would be fantastic. Okay, so now that we have our wet ingredients incorporated, we're going to fold them ever so gently into our dry. So I grew up eating cornbread, traditional cornbread, skillet cornbread, and have it with like Sunday dinner. It's definitely a staple during the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Of course, we're not gonna overmix our batter because we don't wanna activate the gluten in it because we don't wanna make it tough, but this is the perfect consistency, nice and smooth. And look at how quickly that comes together, all of a couple minutes, right? So again, our prepared pan, and we're gonna go straight in. Now we're gonna spread it out evenly. We're gonna give it a little tap tap. That's to let the air out and make sure we get an even baking. We have our oven preheated at 375 degrees, and we're gonna pop her in for about 50 minutes or so. No peeking, do not open that oven because we don't wanna let the heat out. We have our sweet potato cornbread in the oven, and we did say that we're gonna have a maple butter on top of it, right? So I think that we should make it. So it's equal parts of butter. You can use salted or unsalted. I love to use unsalted, and a good grade of maple syrup. And we're just gonna melt. And this will be our glaze for our sweet potato cornbread. Even when I have my restaurant, I glaze my cornbread with honey butter. It just adds that extra bit of sweetness, that extra bit of unctuousness from the butter. It's just like, you know, the equivalent of sprinkles on top of a sundae. It just makes it even better. Do you guys understand how quickly and easily this all came together? Each and every one of you can do it. We're gonna let this sit. We're gonna check on our cornbread. We're gonna brush our cornbread with this delicious butter and maple syrup. And then we're gonna do what? I think we should eat it, right? I think so too. So look at how moist. Listen, I'm just gonna go ahead and taste it, and we'll talk about how delicious it is in a second. Oh, this is good. Oh. This gives me so many different elements. It kind of tastes like a pound cake, but it's not a pound cake. It does give you cornbread. It gives you that coarse, crumbly texture with that mild sweetness of the sweet potato. Listen, I would definitely recommend this recipe. And you can also check out my other video, Cajun chicken and rice with a little bit of spice. Absolutely delicious for any weeknight meal.